On May 7, 2025, India launched a series of missile strikes against alleged terrorist camps located in Pakistan and Pakistan-administered Kashmir. This operation, codenamed Operation Sindoor, marks a significant escalation in the already tense relationship between the two nuclear-armed neighbors. The Indian government claims that these strikes were a measured response to the horrific terrorist attack that occurred in Pahalgam on April 22, 2025, claiming the lives of 26 innocent civilians. The operation's name, Sindoor, holds deep symbolism within Indian culture. It refers to the vermilion powder traditionally used to signify a woman's marital status. The name was chosen to convey India's resolve to avenge the deaths of its citizens, particularly Lieutenant Vinay Narwal, a victim of the Pahalgam attack. The poignant image of Lieutenant Narwal's wife, mourning his loss, became a rallying cry for justice and swift retribution. Operation Sindoor involved the use of precision-guided missiles targeting 9 specific locations believed to be involved in terrorist activities. These locations included Kotli, Bahawalpur, Muridka, and Muzaffarabad. Indian Defense Minister Rajnath Singh addressed the nation, declaring victory to Mother India, and emphasizing that the strikes were executed with surgical precision, minimizing collateral damage and avoiding any civilian casualties. The operation has elicited strong reactions from both sides of the border and the international community. Pakistan condemned the strikes, vehemently denying the presence of any terrorist camps within its territory. They claim that the strikes resulted in the tragic loss of 31 innocent civilians and injuries to 46 others. The international community, including the United Nations, the United States, China, and Russia, has expressed deep concern over the escalation and urged both nations to exercise restraint. The serene tourist haven of Pahalgam in Jammu and Kashmir was shattered on April 22, 2025, by a brutal terrorist attack. The attack, targeting a group of tourists at the picturesque Baisaran Valley, resulted in the deaths of 26 individuals, including 25 Indians and 1 Nepali citizen. The victims, all men, were mercilessly gunned down, some at point-blank range in front of their horrified families. India swiftly blamed Pakistan-based terrorist groups Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Taiba for orchestrating the attack, accusing the Pakistani government of harboring and supporting these organizations. The Indian government presented evidence allegedly linking the attack to individuals operating from within Pakistan, further escalating tensions between the two countries. Pakistan vehemently denied any involvement in the attack, dismissing the evidence presented by India as fabricated. They called for an independent international investigation into the incident, asserting their commitment to combating terrorism in all its forms. The Pahalgam attack sent shockwaves through India, sparking outrage and demands for decisive action against those responsible. The attack's brutality, targeting innocent civilians including elderly individuals, deeply shook the nation. The image of Lieutenant Vinay Narwal's grieving wife clutching his photograph became a symbol of the nation's collective grief and fueled calls for retribution. The incident served as a grim reminder of the persistent threat of terrorism and the volatile relationship between India and Pakistan. Operation Sindoor targeted 9 locations across Pakistan and Pakistan-administered Kashmir, each believed to be associated with terrorist infrastructure. These locations, according to Indian intelligence, served as training camps, logistical hubs, and hideouts for terrorist organizations, including Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Taiba. Among the targeted locations were Muzaffarabad, the capital of Pakistan-administered Kashmir, Kotli, Bahawalpur, and Muridka. These locations were identified based on intelligence gathered through various sources, including satellite imagery, signal intercepts, and human intelligence. India asserted that it employed precision-guided missiles and smart bombs to minimize collateral damage and avoid civilian casualties. The choice of weaponry reflects India's intent to conduct a targeted strike against terrorist infrastructure while minimizing the risk of escalation into a wider conflict. The Indian government maintains that Operation Sindoor was a resounding success, effectively neutralizing the targeted terrorist infrastructure and inflicting heavy casualties on terrorist operatives. According to Indian sources, over 100 terrorists were killed in the strikes. However, these claims are disputed by Pakistan, which insists that the targeted locations were civilian areas and that the strikes resulted in the deaths of innocent civilians. Pakistan vehemently denies the presence of any terrorist camps at the targeted locations, claiming that the strikes hit civilian areas, including a mosque seminary in Muzaffarabad. They assert that the strikes resulted in the deaths of 31 civilians and injuries to 46 others. The international community reacted to Operation Sindoor with a mixture of concern and calls for restraint. The United Nations, along with major powers like the United States, China, and Russia, expressed deep concern over the escalation of tensions between India and Pakistan. The United States, while acknowledging India's right to self-defense, urged both countries to engage in dialogue and de-escalate the situation. China, a close ally of Pakistan, called for restraint from both sides and emphasized the importance of resolving disputes through peaceful means. Russia echoed these sentiments, advocating for dialogue and a diplomatic solution to the crisis. The economic fallout of Operation Sindoor has been mixed. Pakistan's already fragile economy experienced initial shocks, with its currency and stock market experiencing volatility. However, the market stabilized somewhat after the initial shock. India's economy remained relatively stable, with its stock market showing resilience. The operation has significantly escalated tensions along the line of control, the de facto border between India and Pakistan and Kashmir. Both sides have reinforced their military presence along the line of control, with reports of heavy artillery exchanges and troop movements raising concerns of a potential wider conflict. The situation remains fluid and unpredictable. While both India and Pakistan have indicated a desire to avoid further escalation, the risk of miscalculation and unintended consequences remains high. The international community continues to urge both sides to exercise restraint, engage in dialogue, and seek a peaceful resolution to the crisis.